Alrighty, so it's time to start getting serious with the 6mm arc. Today we're going to shoot the 108 grain ELD match in Reloader 15. Now it looks like via Hornady's load data, this is one of the few extruded powders that's not super temperature sensitive that's going to get us pretty decent velocity. So it's time to see how that's going to go. We all know that the slow ball powders like CFE 223 and Lab Revolution are going to work really well, but let's see how some of the good powders are going to do. So here brings Reloader 15. Going to continue using our brass that we just sized down from 6.5 Grendel Brass, so we are fire forming still. But I didn't want to wait any longer to see how the ELDs were going to shoot. We're shooting the Winchester number 41 primer. Now Hornady recommends an overall length of 2.245, but my gun allows a little bit longer in this, so we're going to stretch it out just a little bit. We're going to shoot 2.270 cartridge overall length. Now this ended up with the last two loads we're going to shoot today being slightly compressed, but not bad enough to need to crank down on the press or anything like that. We're going to start out at 27.7 grains and work our way up to 28.9, Hornady's max load. We're going to use 3/10 increments. Now because we're trying to stretch some of this today, we're going to do 3-shot groups at the first two charges, so 27.7 and 28, then a 4-shot group at 28.3, and then 2 5-shot groups at the max charges. Now we're doing this because I really don't want to use some of those lower charges because they should be like 2,600 feet per second. We want the load that we end up being at somewhere around 2,700 feet per second to make this powder work. So hopefully the last two groups are our best groups of the day. So let's get out on the range and let's see how they shoot. Alrighty, we are out here on the range. The target is at 100 yards. This is my Savage 110 Switchback chambered in 6 ARC. It's got a 22-inch barrel, 1 7.5 twist. As you can probably hear in the camera, there's a little bit of a breeze, but it's not too bad. It's a pretty decent day to shoot, probably about 45 degrees. We're going to shoot a couple 3-shot groups, 4-shot group, and a couple 5-shot groups today. And that's just because, and I want to cover a little bit more area than what I could if I did all 5-shot groups. We're getting velocity through the Labradar. The gun is cold. I have not cleaned it since I shot it. It's got, what, 20 rounds on it since I cleaned it? 6 to 24 Athlon scope. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start shooting the 108 ELD and Reloader 15. Alright, so we're a little bit better for velocity than I thought we might be. That one was 2,600 feet per second. Alright, pretty good 3-shot group there. Brass looks just fine. Let's go ahead and we'll check out our velocity there. Now we are fire forming this brass. This is still the batch that we're fire forming, so don't necessarily expect anything super consistent, but still worth taking a look at. Alright, so that one we had 2618 feet per second with a 14.4 SD. So not a bad start. Let's go ahead and move on up. Alright, moving on up here. I think it was that one. Let's see. And no, it shot just with the other ones there. So when I seated that bullet on the press, it kind of felt like it was going to get, there was a burr on the inside of the case or something like that, but it grouped just with the other ones. Kind of a little bit surprised there, actually. Alright, let's take a look at our velocity there. Alright, so that one we were 2636 average with an 11.0 SD. So pretty good start with the 3-shot groups. So the next group's going to be a 4-shot group. And then the highest charge is going to be 2 5-shot groups. Alright, 2660. Brass is still looking pretty good. $26.54. 2650. And that was 2670. Alright, let's take a look at our velocity averages there. Alright, so those four we averaged 2659 feet per second with a 9.4 SD. So let's go ahead and move on to the top 2 charges here. 5-shot groups. See, that one there was $26.99. There may just be a little tiny bit of a swipe there on that one. Alright, that looks like a pretty decent group there for a 5-shotter. Let's take it our velocity. Alright, so that 5-shot group we were averaging 2685 feet per second with a 9.6 SD. Let's go ahead. Okay, barrel is like a little bit warm, just warm enough to warm my hands up. Not hot by any stretch, so we're going to go ahead and shoot this last 5-shot group. Alright, last group here. Alright, we hit 2,700 feet per second on that one. Do have a little bit of an ejector smear probably. Maybe that was kind of a false impact shift. Alright, last one here. Let's see if it groups with 3 of those or that bottom one. Alright. Interesting group there. Alright, so as you can tell, the wind picked up a little bit as we shot there. Hopefully it's not too bad in the camera. That last group was 2713 average with a 9.8 SD. So good numbers across the board. The group looks really good, other than that one we dropped low. So let's get over there and let's check out the target. Alright, so we're back at the bench here. Pretty good target overall. First group at 27.7 grains, we shot a 0.67 inch 3-shot group, 2618 feet per second, and a 14.4 SD. So we started out right on track where we wanted to be. Moving up to 28 grains, we shot a 0.69 inch group, 2636 feet per second with an 11.0 SD. Moving up to 28.3 grains, we shot a 0.68 inch 4-shot group, 2659 feet per second, and 9.4 SD. Moving on to 28.6. With the 5-shot group there, we shot a 0.58 inch group, very good looking group, 2685 feet per second, and a 9.6 SD. Very pleased with that. Now our last group of the day, kind of a impressive and disappointing group all at the same time at 28.9 grains. We shot a 0.77 inch group. 4 of those all grouped together, and we had that one drop down low. 2713 feet per second and a 9.8 SD. So very impressed with the last 2 groups here. Definitely have to come back and try these again once we've got the Fireform Brass, which we'll have now. But all things considered, I'm very pleased with the 108 grain ELD. Now taking a look at our brass today, I think we are pretty close to max pressure. I did notice some very slight ejector smears on the last load there. You can't really see them in the picture, so they're very minimal. I don't think we can get a whole lot more powder in the case, so I don't know that we can go much higher than 28.9 grains. Probably somewhere around max. So I think in the next video we might screw around with some powders that most people don't use in the 6-heart. You know, people talk about Reloader 17, maybe some of the Vitavory powders. I'm kind of even looking at maybe Stayball 6.5. But it'll all depend on if those can push up in the velocity, if we have enough case capacity, so on and so forth. We might end up loading up like 1 or 2 at a couple random powders and just see what we end up with. I don't think we're going to get into any pressure issues because these are too slow of powders. So worst case scenario, we end up with no velocity. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Seems like people really like the 6-arc videos and I'm really enjoying shooting them. So we'll see you next week.